Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm. And today we are gonna be carrying on our series. And if you guys remember what we did here, we did something really cool, which is we created a bunch of, let's say, requests on our server. We create a login screen. Sorry, we create a login endpoint. We create a register. And today I just want to make sure that we create we finish setting up our login screen and endpoint as well. All right, so without taking too long, I went here on Laravel and I searched for Sanctum, right? And we have this chapter here called API Token Authentication, right? And that what basically allows us to do is to issue API tokens that we can use to later on create authorizations on our Laravel application. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to my Laravel project. And before we do anything here, we're going to go to our user. And there's something here that I can see that we need to add, right? On the documentation, they say that Accentum allows you to, issue tokens and blah, 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 blah. And basically going to use those tokens to log in on our application. To log in the application, what we need to do here is to token for user and model use. All right. So we need to basically create has API tokens. So I'm going to just paste that one here. And I'm going to add a comma. I'm going to right click. I'm going to import the Laravel Sanctum has tokens. That must be a trait. And I think, yeah, that's exactly the same one. Now, to create a token, we can use a bunch of methods, but look that we have on our post here an example of how we can use to create a token, right? We can just create a token and we can give a token name and then we return the token to the user. That in essence is basically pretty much everything that we need to do here when we get the user. That's all we got to do here. We need to just find the user and then we return his token, all right? So now what we need to do here is that on our login screen, remember that we are doing like a DD, right? I'm gonna remove this, right? And that basically, instead of doing this session regenerate, I'm gonna get my DD and I'm gonna get my auth user. Sorry, auth user. Let's see if that's gonna work. So if I go back, press send, we have our user. And if we type a wrong password, let's see what's going to happen. False, invalid credentials. Great. That means everything is working. We are logging in. And this is where I really love Laravel about this, because something like this, in a different framework, will take hours to build. But with Laravel, we just install a couple of things and we are basically up and running in no time. Okay, nice. So now we have a user. And what can we do with this? According with the Laravel authentication here, we can create a token, right? So let's just copy this name and let's go back in here and let's just paste it here, right? Right, I don't see that, oh, sorry, not here. We're going to paste it here. Right. Now, you're probably going to see that we have this create new token and something is happening, whatever. I'm not going to go too much into details of programming related to PHP. But if you guys are happy to do it, I'm always happy to create a new tutorial, like let's say game related to PHP. Maybe I can even create, let's say, a full chat system that's monitored by PHP in Unreal. That would be quite cool. But anyway, now that we have this stuff here, we need to get the token name, right? Our token name is just going to be, let's say, let me get my credentials here. It's going to do a DD. Let's just hit send, and here I got email, right? So this is gonna be array, because look at the type, it's an array, and I'm gonna do a concat. So I'm gonna put, let's say, that, and I'm gonna do here let's say Unreal dash now. All right, that's how it's gonna be my token name. Let's see what is going to happen right now. So when I press create, I created a token. It basically has, expires at blah, blah, blah. In this case, it doesn't expire. So let's check here if we can set maybe expiration date. Token can, middleware, we can have the abilities, revoking the token, token expiration. There we go. We have a token name, and we can add, let's say, when it will expire. All right. So let's go back to our code, and basically, let me just copy this in a proper way. I'm gonna edit here. I'm gonna have the token, all right, equals. Make sure that at the end you do add this plain token, because it's something that was written right here. Then we need to get, where is it? We have our token, right? Now I would like to add expiration date. I don't want this to live forever. And my expiration date will be, let's say, let me just put that. And let me just break the line. Let's make things easy to read. Now let's check here. So the token has a daytime and has abilities. On our case, we do not have abilities. The user can do whatever he wants. And now we're just going to do now. And we're going to add maybe, I don't know, 20 days. All right. Now that we have our token, we're going to say user login successfully, and we're going to just return the token. All right. And that's pretty much what we need to do here. Now we're going to press send. Look at that. We have a token that we can use to do all sorts of things on our application. And if I keep sending, I keep creating new tokens, and that token expiration date, if I go back here to my database and I go here to, let's say, what is it? Personal access token. I have all the tokens created here. Last it's seen at expires, and then I can just, come here and delete the token, and then the user is not allowed to log in anymore. All right. Now, what I would like to do here, guys, is that before we move on to the parts where we're going to store our, let's say, player information like money, items, and all that stuff, I just want to create an endpoint that will just return the user information so I can check if the user is authenticated. All right. So to do that, we are going to just copy this. I'm going to paste it right there. And here, actually, I don't need to do this. I can even make it simpler. Remember that in here, we did something like where, user, blah, 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 blah. So what I can do here, I can just copy and paste this logic. So I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I am going to paste it in here. All right. Now, what I can do is that I'm just going to hit and create a token. So I have a token. I'm going to duplicate this. And here, pay attention. Just change that to the get method. Now we're going to go back to our Laravel. We're going to get a user. We're going to change this to the API/user. And if you hit send, things is not going to work, right? We're going to, actually, is that a get method? API user. Let me double check why method. API login is supported. Let me just change that and say user. It's not liking that. Anyway, we don't need to do this. We can just leave this one outside anyway. Let's double check if that's gonna work. It's not gonna work. Let me put that user. Right. For some reason, it doesn't like when I do that. So if I do PHP artisan route list, we have API login, we have API user, and that's a get method, right? So let me close that. Go back here and go back to the body and press send. Send again. Method not allowed. Well, API login. I don't know why it's sending as a API login, even when I'm telling to send as a Samsung token anyway. But anyway, just for now, I'm just gonna delete this and let's see what's gonna happen. Login route not defined. And that is because I think I'm gonna just delete that for now. There's something wrong with that request, but anyway, I'm gonna add here a new request. I'm gonna do a Control Z. I'm gonna go back here and I'm just gonna type API user. And that method is not supported because, I see. It's because it's redirecting the user to the login route. I see. That makes sense, but anyway. So what we need to do here is that I completely ignore that because we don't have the token. So Laravel is just saying, okay, you need to be logged in. But anyway, we're going to rename that. And I'm just going to call this, let's say, user info. All right. And I'm going to go back. And here we're going to change this to user again. So let's just repeat what we did here. Now, here's the important thing. We have a name here called authorization, right? So let me just send a request. Let's just copy our token, right? Let's go back to our user info and let's search for bearer token. And here we're going to paste our token and we're going to press send. And now I have my user information, as you can see here. And look how cool is that? Like we get our user information using the token. So our workflow now is that we need to register, goes back to the login screen that we did, and then you press login, and then it logs in, accepts, creates the token, is stored there on our session game instance somewhere, and then get the user information, and then loads the main menu. And then on the main menu, you have the users, that you have the information on your local, on your client, whatever we have. And then when we press play, we're going to save the items and we're going to do all sorts of things on the Laravel, right? So what I'm going to do here, guys, is that I'm going to pause this video for now. And then in the next lesson, we are going to create two main endpoints. One is to add an item and remove, right? So two. And we're going to have one which is to add currency and remove currency. And then once we have all these endpoints fixed and working properly and tested, we're going to be able to go back to Unreal and then combine everything to one. And then you guys are going to have an introduction to an MMO framework. And the cool thing about this is that, this is a very simple example, but you're going to be able to add anything you want and transform that data back to you. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I see you guys in the next one.